Good morning. It is 9:45. We're starting this a little later than I wanted to, but that's okay. I'm in the kitchen again today I'm rendering lard, making tallow out of some venison fat that my husband got off one of the deer that he harvested. We are a hunting family. That is where we try and get the bulk of our red meat for the year. And getting venison fat can be really tricky because they're very, very lean animals. But this one doe that my husband got is the fattiest doe that I think we've ever had, probably combined with all the other deer. It's crazy how much. I got 2 big gallon bags, I'll show you in a second. But I'm gonna walk through the process for anyone that is interested or doesn't really know the process of rendering lard and making tallow. So I use tallow in a lot of soap and in cooking. It's great for seasoning cast iron, and I am completely out. I've been out for a very long time, so we're gonna make more today. Here is what we're working with. That's one of the bags. Another of the bags. Let me take a piece out here. I'm just going to use my crock pot for this. There is, on some of these, he got them very clean. See how clean that is? And then some of them, there's still little chunks of meat on there, and I'll just pull that off as best I can. I'm not too worried about it though, because you strain it, and dogs like the cracklings that come from it. Look at that. Holy cow, that's got to be like an inch across. This is going to be beautiful. Okay, right now I'm not going to cook this like this in these big chunks. That one's pretty good. I'm going to cut it up, but I just want to separate it first. And rather than get my counters all messy, I got to run out and do homestead chores yet. Yeah, that one I want to get more off of. But I'm going to cut all this up. I'm going to cut it into small pieces because it cooks down faster, it cooks down more evenly, and that's the way I've always done it. Okay. Alright, so I've got 2 pieces that have quite a bit of meat still on them, so I'm going to see what I can do with that. You can see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to scrape off the meat. I'm not really trying to cut. I'm just scraping. And it doesn't, like I said, does not need to be perfect. And I would rather have some extra meat on fat than be wasting any bit of the fat. Because the fat is what you want in this case. So when I'm making soap with this, it is a different recipe than I'm using when I'm using other kinds of fats like olive oil. And that does take different calculations, but the soap has a richer lather and it's got some different benefits to it. And I personally prefer a bar made with tallow. So yeah, some of them you can just pull when it's like this. You got that thick piece of meat. Okay. And any of the meat I pull off of here is not going to be good. It was not saved in a way that I'd be happy eating. I wouldn't trust that. So we're not going to be eating that. We're going to be scrapping that. Normally I would do this all at the same time, but when my husband brought this deer home for the first time this year, we ground our own instead of having my brother-in-law help us, which he still would happily do. But I got a meat grinder for Christmas, and it's just for the KitchenAid attachment. It's not like a commercial one or anything, and that worked fantastic for doing like a deer at a time, but it was time consuming, so I had to go slower than I think they would normally go using my brother-in-law's. So you see how I'm doing this? I'm just kind of pulling the meat up and just kind of slicing it at the line. It's okay if it butchers the fat. You're cooking it up anyway, or cooking it down rather. This one's good enough. There's some meat in between the fat layers, but it's not tons. I'm not worried about that. Alright, so I think you get the idea of this. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then we'll do the next step. Okay, so now I've got everything cut. We're just going to come through here and cut things up into small pieces. These are normally not the size chunks I would do. I would cut them up smaller. I usually do them like, I don't know, like that. Oop, like about like that. But we're kind of in a hurry. I am putting it in the slow cooker, so it'll be fine. We'll just stir it throughout the day. You just have to remember when you're doing this that the bigger your pieces are, the longer it takes to render. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and then all I'm going to do is turn it on low on the crock pot, and I'll periodically check it throughout the day. So I got everything cut up, and I've got it in the crock pot on low. And we're just going to leave it in here all day, and every once in a while we'll come over and give it a stir and see how it's doing. Okay, it is 12:30 now, and that's where we're at. I'm gonna get a spoon and give it a stir. Okay, I just want to make sure that I've got all these pieces that are kind of getting stuck, that have more meat on them, to the side, and fold them on in there. Alright, so that's looking good. Cover it back up, check back in a little bit. Okay, so we're on day 2 now. Yesterday we were just a little too busy to finish this up, and overnight I set my crock pot onto warm because it was pretty much done, but it was like midnight and I really didn't want to mess with it anymore, and filming at midnight is not good lighting, so I decided to just set it on warm overnight, and today we're going to finish it up. Okay, so the next step to this is I've got to cut a piece of cheesecloth here. And I've got my funnel. I'm just going to put that over there. And now we're going to strain it. This is not fantastic light over here in this section of the kitchen, but there's still deer hair and all sorts of cracklings and stuff in there. I'm going to filter that out. So you got almost a full half gallon. I'm a mess. I'm going to stick a top on this and stick it in the fridge, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So welcome to day 3 of rendering lard. I promise that this is a relatively quick thing that you can do. I've just been busy, so I've broken it down into stages, and doing it in the crock pot allows you to kind of walk away from it a little bit versus doing it on the stove where you have to watch it and really babysit it to make sure it doesn't burn. So here it is after being in the fridge for a while. You can see on the bottom there's still some stuff down in there. It still smells rather meaty, and I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and render this again. I'm going to do it a second time because I want it crystal clear to be able to use it in soap. And if you want to use it in soap, you definitely don't want it to smell like meat. So we're going to do that again. So yeah, but you see how white it is? And it will get probably a little bit whiter than that after I render it again. And for my purposes, I will use this for making soap, making a tallow soap, and for pretty much keeping my cast iron, cooking, things like that. So I'm sure there's other uses for it, but that's what I use for it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and how I render the fat from the deer that we hunt to get this beautiful tallow. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.